everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Celtics Talk podcast here on the NBC Sports Boston podcast network. And Amina Smith, the Celtics are up 2-0 on the Brooklyn Nets. You know, I was pretty bullish about the Celtics coming into this series, but I will admit, like, these wins have been kind of impressive based on the way they've played out. And, you know, I might have got an early edition, said the Nets stink. They have talent, but they also have flaws, and I think they've shown themselves in this series. But let's start with this. What are you most impressed with about the Celtics through those first two games?
I would say what I'm most impressed with is the fact that we're looking at a complete Celtics team, right? People look at the Brooklyn Nets and they say KD and Kyrie, like they're good offensive scorers. They could put up 40, 50 points, which is all good, but you also need more than 80 points to win a game, especially in a playoff series. And I think that when you take a look at the Celtics team, they're just so much well-rounded. Offensively, you can have Grant Williams that could go out there and score. You have Peyton Pritchard last night who went out there and put some points up as well. Al Horford, who has been kind of huge in this playoff series. He can go out there and put up points as well. When Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they started out slow in game two. It was like you were worried a little bit, but also the other guys, those role players, they stepped up and did their job. I look at that Brooklyn Nets team and I'm just like, I don't know how much I trust the role players to step up every single night to do the same thing that the Celtics players are doing. And also, of course, on the defensive end, the Celtics, best defensive team in the NBA. They have that going for them as well, which is why I picked the Celtics to win this series. I think it's going to go all 7 games, to be honest. This is what I thought, like, you know, before the series started, but now going through games 1 and game 2, I wouldn't be surprised if we only get to a game 5 or a game 6. Because the way the Celtics look right now, they look so confident. They're clicking on all cylinders. I think this series is theirs.
Yeah, so prediction-wise, I always worried about game 3. I think it's always hard. You go up 2-0, you go down there. Like, they're trying to kind of fight for their life. You're a little bit more relaxed. I wonder if KD comes out and finally has that big game that goes to 2-1. You get nervous for a minute, but I think the Celtics ultimately put this thing away in 5 games. You talked about the role players. Later in this episode, we're going to sit down with Derrick White, talk to him a little bit about this bench. And you mentioned it. Celtics were really struggling in game 2, and they sent up that searchlight. Batman logo goes up in the middle of TD Garden. How impressive is that the Celtics, on a night where Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown didn't have it, you know, especially at the start at least, but I mean, obviously they had it at the finish line, but for them to be able to get contributions from guys like Grant in the first quarter and then Peyton Pritchard in the fourth quarter to sort of carry them.
It's so impressive, but it also is a testament to just how much this team has been playing as a team all season long. Like Grant Williams, we've seen him step up in the regular season. So now when it gets to the playoffs and you're playing the big, bad Brooklyn Nets, he's not scared to go up there and chuck those shots up to get in his corner office and shoot those threes. What was it? He had three threes back to back to back. I remember sitting next to you inside of TD Garden. I looked down for 2 seconds, look up, boom, he's shooting a 3. I look down, look back up. I'm like, wait a minute. Is Grant Williams the savior that we need in this game? He literally took that game over. But again, that's a testament to the fact that these guys during the regular season, they built that trust up. They built all those skills up during the regular season. Whereas, you know, Kyrie Irving at the end of last night's game, he's like, yeah, we're still trying to figure out chemistry. Chemistry in the playoffs? What are we talking about, Chris Forsberg? How are the Brooklyn Nets trying to find chemistry in the postseason? Just riddle me that.
I'm glad you brought up the Kyrie comment. Let's take a listen to what Kyrie had to say last night, and then we're going to react.
I'm not surprised at all. I just think the timing is right. Their window is now for these young guys that are on this team that have matured. They've been through series together. They've been through seasons together. They've been through battles together. And I got a chance to experience some of that. And now being on the opposite end and going against a healthy Celtics team, obviously without Robert Williams, but you're just seeing there's a difference in their verve. There's a difference in the way they approach the game. And also they have a set offense and defense that they rely on. Ime has been a huge part of that. But you got to give credit to that guy that's sitting in the president's role as well now. That all of a sudden just, you know, we don't get to see him as often. Brad Stevens definitely has a lot to do with that.
I mean, this one just totally took my brain and took it in a pretzel. Like, listening to Kyrie for the 2 years he was here hurt my brain on a nightly basis. But this was the complete opposite end of the spectrum. He actually made a lot of sense, but the problem was he was glowing about the Boston Celtics. This is normally the sort of praise you reserve for Game 4, you're down 3-1. Maybe Game 5 and the series is over and you're like, you know, want to tip your cap to that other side. Kyrie went out of his way to praise Ime, Brad. After, you know, they had a fine relationship, but like Brad could never kind of get through to him as a coach. And the young guys who we blame for everything here. And he came out and said, like, look, they've learned, which was a little bit of a shot. But What are you thinking when you hear Kyrie Irving gush the way he did about the Boston Celtics?
You know what? I've had some time to kind of sleep on those comments, and just listening to what a lot of people have said and different opinions and the trends that Kyrie Irving has shown throughout his career, I'm kind of wondering, is he checking out at this point in the series? And I mean, I've never really paid attention to it before until now in the whole Boston saga between, Kyrie Irving and this team. But it's almost feeling like he's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm checking out. This is a great team. They've got a great defense. They've got 2 superstars. They've got great ownership. They've got a great man in the front office in Brad Stevens. It's like, that wasn't the story in Game 1. The story in Game 1 was flipping the bird to fans and going back and forth. Like, this is a completely different Kyrie Irving that we're looking at. And then also the fact that he came out of Game 2 with just 10 points. And we saw Marcus Smart on several defensive possessions just like shutting Kyrie Irving down. So I think that, I don't know. I think a little bit is that Kyrie Irving might be just kind of shutting down in this series. And if you're Kevin Durant, you got to be so upset because you kind of put all your eggs into that basket of KD, Kyrie, and James Harden once upon a time when he was in Brooklyn as well. If I'm KD, I would be so upset at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch the dynamic, especially if Brooklyn gets down early in Game 3. Do they just, 1, 2, 3 Cancun? Like, we're just going, like, they know. Because at a certain point, you do realize as a team that you're just not in it.
Yeah.
And you can have as much hope as you want, and some teams will fight to the end, but some teams that have been through it, when you've won championships and you just look at it, you're like, man, we have to work for every bucket we get against Boston. I don't know if I want to go out there and do that. I told you coming into this series, there could be a moment where Kyrie would go that direction. I actually didn't think it would be this early.
Yeah.
I thought it would lead, maybe they'd steal a game, maybe it'd be interesting, but it hasn't happened. And having lived this life, we'll know. Here's how you'll know. If he starts switching on to Jason Tatum and purposely letting Jason Tatum kind of just dominate,
That's how we know.
we know he's just like, you know what? He's like, in his mind, it's him like, I'm going to win us this series by guarding the other team's best player. Whereas if you're a coach or any NBA fan with any NBA knowledge at all is looking at it going, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Here's a 6-foot guard who wants to guard Giannis in the playoffs. Like, what is going on here? So I'll be fascinated to watch this. Couple lingering things as we look ahead to the series shifting to Brooklyn. We now hear reports that Ben Simmons wants to be back on the floor for Game 4.
Oh, my goodness.
Are we believing this? Clutch propaganda?
Come on. Are we seriously? Like, why? Like, at first, I want to say maybe a month ago, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, not even a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, 2-3 months ago when they first made that trade. I was like, okay, maybe like Ben Simmons toward the end of the regular season can get into that lineup. They start to build that chemistry. Maybe he adds some defense to that Brooklyn Nets team. Y'all, we're in the first round of the playoffs. Like, can we stop talking about Ben Simmons? Can we not? Like, he has not played, I think, since June of last season.
Yeah.
He has not been on the basketball court. He has not played NBA basketball. What are we doing right now? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I love Ben Simmons out there with the outfits, but I don't know if the impact on the court is going to be as strong as the outfits outside of the court. I will say that.
I love that a team that has all sorts of offensive problems is like, maybe we can throw Ben Simmons out there and fix it. I mean, he can definitely help them defensively. It would be another body, but I just don't see how you throw him out there. He's had a fragile playoff history as well, and you're asking him to come in potentially down 3-0 and be like, kind of figure this thing out.
Yeah.
When his teammates will probably have shut down. So it's the Nets in a nutshell. It's been a dysfunctional year, trying to work through it with Harden and the Kyrie situation, and this is why I was so bullish on Boston. I just thought there was going to be a point where Boston's cohesion and Boston pulling on the rope the same way would just outweigh this kind of craziness of the Nets. And there's so much talent, it's undeniable, but at some point talent only gets you so far.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are proven, because the Celtics talent is still at a comparable level.
Oh, absolutely.
And deeper team, and I just think it's been interesting. One of the big storylines in the aftermath of Game 2 was the coaching chess match. How much of an advantage has it been to have Ime Udoka, a former Nets assistant coach, over Steve Nash?
I think it's a huge advantage because you have Ime Udoka, who knows the inner workings, not only of Steve Nash's mind and working on, his staff, but also how they do things out there in Brooklyn, how he knows he's worked with Kyrie. If Kyrie Irving said it last night, he's like, yeah, that is the upper hand that they have. Ime Udoka knows us very well. And we know that Ime, just throughout the season, the adjustments that he's made, not only in games, but just moving from game to game to game in the regular season, that he's able to make the right adjustments. And I think that's what we're seeing in this series, even from Game 1 to Game 2. We talked about in Game 1 how the Celtics didn't play their best basketball. They come back in game 2. They weren't perfect, but I feel like it wasn't like what we saw in game 1, right? And they were able to make adjustments at halftime when they were down 10 in game 2, and then really kind of put their foot on the gas in that fourth quarter. So I think it does come down to coaching in this matchup. And I know, a lot of people have brought this up too, just the fact that Kyrie Irving and KD, like they co-signed also when Steve Nash got that job. Like, hey, we don't really need coaching. We just kind of want someone to just hang out and just, just tell us what to do maybe sometimes. And you're proving right now, they're proving right now in this series that coaching does matter, that you have to make adjustments. And that's not to say that Steve Nash can't do that, but I'm just saying Ime Udoka is doing a better job.
I do love that quote. There was like Kyrie came out and he was like, yeah, Jacques Vaughn could be the coach one night. And it's like, no. There's one head coach.
Right.
There's one guy who makes the decisions and his staff helps him along the way. But yeah, you can't have your best players being like sort of steering the ship. That was the problem. Kyrie always wanted to sort of make those decisions, and sometimes it doesn't work out. I am fascinated to see where this series goes. I do not think Brooklyn is crawling back into it, but certainly as it shifts down there, you wonder if they'll be able to play to a level. Am I wrong to think like we haven't even seen the best of Celtics basketball? Like I feel like these have been two of their poorer games, and yet they found ways to win. I don't think they can get away with it on the road where you don't have the home court and the sort of momentum that comes with it. But I feel like the Celtics have this, Jason hasn't really gone off. JB has been great, especially in the fourth quarters, but like they've both had slow
starts, yeah.
Is there another level for the Celtics team?
I think there is another level, and that level is when Jason Tatum goes out there and drops 50 in the playoffs. Like that is the next level. I mean, think about it. We've seen him do it during the regular season. We know that Jason Tatum has the ability to go out there and have his way offensively, and I'm just waiting for that to happen, not only in this series but beyond, because I do have the Celtics moving on in the playoffs. But I think there is another level that this Celtics team can hit, which is the scary part, because I feel like they're clicking on all cylinders. They're all on the same page. They all know what the goal is at this point, and they're buying into what Ime Udoka has kind of taught them all throughout the season. So you talk about another level. That's scary for other teams in the East, because I feel like people low-key were sleeping on the Celtics. They're like, oh, they're a good team. They might be like a second round of exit, But I think now they're starting to show you, because it's not a traditional 7 seed. Jason Tatum said it.
Nope.
The Brooklyn Nets, these other teams aren't playing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. And we're seeing the Celtics being tested on so many different levels.
I think about the momentum you gained. So everyone kept saying, oh, this is the right move, going for the 2 seed and having, complicating the path and having to go through Brooklyn, and then you still got to play Milwaukee in round 2, and all those things are true. But I think by taking on this challenge, like all of a sudden the Celtics are going to come out of this, if they are lucky enough to emerge, and just have so much confidence.
Oh, yeah.
You just took down KD and Kyrie.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever challenge is next, and let's say the Bucks get through. Chris Middleton now, knee injury, he might not be available for the start of that series. Maybe you get Rob Williams back. You're more whole. I just think things are really lining up well for the Celtics, and the basketball gods are rewarding them for not dodging a easier path, which some teams chose. Let's end on this. We got to go over to TD Garden finally.
I know. Oh, my God.
Took the pre- and post-game show on the road. Amina got put on the concourse with all these crazy people screaming behind her. I had to go outside with the real crazies coming out. What was it like for you to get that taste of TD Garden?
It was such an amazing experience. Just being inside of TD Garden and feeling it was like literally like the building was about to erupt. Like game 2, first of all, game 1, it was like, okay, this is everybody's excited, they're into it. Game 2 felt completely different just off of the fact that I think one, it was a later start, but then, so people had a little bit more alcohol, but also the fact that people were just into it. They the whole storylines with Kyrie and him going back into the media and the fine, fans were into it. And then also in that fourth quarter, when this Celtics team came back, I mean, you can attest to this.
Oh, man.
The roof was about to blow off of TD Garden. I mean, if this is this is the type of playoff experience that you want to have. And honestly, I'm so happy that we get to be inside of the building.
It's great. I'm telling you. And one, also, we haven't seen people, and you forget that people are actually tuning into these games and watching it. And people came up and said, super nice things. And I was I was almost overwhelmed. People were like, where can I meet Amina? I was like, she's up on the concourse. People are asking us for pictures, signing
It's great to see people, because you know what, we're usually in studio, so I never get to see everybody. I'm not at the games very often. So to be out there and to see folks who watch the show, who watch pregame, halftime, post-show, and everything like that, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Yeah,
it's super cool. So everybody who came up and said nice things or just stopped by, we can't thank you enough. It was super cool. One other guy that had really enjoyed that atmosphere and got a chance to sample it for the first time was Derrick White. I got a chance to catch up with him at Celtics practice earlier today. Here's his thoughts on the Celtics playoff run and what goes on in the locker room at halftime of these games.
All right, Derrick, let's start with the playoff atmosphere inside TD Garden. You got a little sample of TD Garden when you first got here. What's it like on the sidelines when you're hearing all that and the craziness inside that building?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, just having the crowd behind us, especially when we go on a run or make a big play, it's electric in there. It's been awesome. The first 2 games, I mean, they've been awesome the whole time I've been here. So I already knew that the playoffs would take a step up, and it's been fun playing there.
So your dad is a huge Celtics fan, right? Has he been able to come out and see a game out here? What's he thinking as you're going through this playoff experience?
Yeah, he was at game 1.
He picked a good one.
Yeah, he picked a fun one to go to. So he was there. I mean, he loved it. I mean, I got him some Celtics gear and everything, so he's wearing it nonstop. So he's happy that I'm here.
Did he raise you Celtics stuff? Did you remember there being a heavy Celtics shirts or anything in the house when you were growing up?
I mean, there was a little bit of Celtics stuff here and there. I mean, I saw more Red Sox stuff than Celtics stuff, but there was always some Celtics stuff just laying around that I always seen, and I mean, it's pretty cool to be here now.
So here's my big question: halftime, you guys have the best third quarter net rating, plus 11.3. It's a crazy off the chart number, best in the league. What goes on at halftime in that locker room?
I mean, we're just kind of going over what happened in the first half, kind of settling down, trying to figure out what defenses they're running against us, what we can do defensively, and, I mean, just coming out aggressive. I mean, it's been big for us, and, I mean, even last game, just coming out and having that good start to third kind of set us up for the rest of the second half.
Ime says he gives you guys a little bit of time to talk. Are you guys diving right in? Is there a lot of chatter about that? And then when he comes in, the clips I hear, lead me through a little bit of what it's like in there.
Yeah, I mean, they got the first half rolling on the screen. Guys are talking, whether it's good job or whatever it might be, changes get in the game, and then kind of a little bit of a downtime right before coach comes in and goes over the clips, some adjustments that we need to make, and then head out, get some warm-up shots, and ready to go.
The way you guys go up a level, it always makes me wonder is he coming in there and throwing chairs at any point? Is that Ime's style? What is he just calm and just telling you all right, here's what we need to do?
Yeah, I mean, no chairs have been thrown since I've been here. I can't tell you what happened before I got here, but yeah, just mostly calm, just a little adjustments that mistakes that we made in the first half, and just go out in the second half and make the right play.
Tell me about this defense, because obviously in this series you guys have been all over Durant, but just in general, number 1 defense in the NBA. What makes it so successful, this group?
I think it's just we have a lot of guys that can guard multiple positions. I mean, make it tough. I mean, no matter who's on you. I mean, you got JT and then Smart, obviously Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Rob's back, Tice, I mean, everybody. So just a lot of guys that can guard multiple positions and just make it tough for the opposition.
How much do you feel you got to maintain that when you come in? Now, you came with a defensive reputation, but they're comfortable with you switching on to Durant, and what's it like taking on that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to come in and not mess things up. I knew that defensively they were obviously number 1 in the league, so just come in and figure out what makes them so successful. And I mean, it took a little bit to get used to, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable now, and just gotta guard and make it tough for the other team.
Tell me about how much pride do you take in the way the second unit has really sort of, at the start of the year, and I know you weren't around for it, it felt like there would be some ebbs and flows and how much the bench could contribute. Between you, Grant, and Peyton, it feels like you're getting contributions every night. If one of you guys slips, you had foul trouble, but someone else will go to a level, how much pride do you guys take in the way the role players have been able to help out?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for us. I mean, we come in there, we know we need to make an impact on the game. Obviously, Peyton was incredible in the second half last night. I mean, he's been making shots all year. So whenever I'm out there with him, I'm trying to find him, and Grant's doing what he does, defensively, rebounding, offensively. So we understand what we need to do, and we go out there and we try to go out there and do it.
You had the best view of the game winner on game 1, right? You were on that far side, you saw everything. What's going through your mind when you're watching that whole play unfold and Smart delivering it to Jason?
Well, I was really trying to just space out because I first thought Smart was going to shoot it, so I was going to go in for the rebound. But space out. I mean, he made an incredible pass and an incredible move, spin and then lay it up, and kind of just went black after that. But I mean, it's just a great play by them too, and a big time win for us.
Your face in the background was awesome. Like, you lit up. Like, have you been part of like a game winner like that, especially on that sort of level? And like, what's that feel like?
Yeah, nah, I don't know if I've ever really been a part of any like buzzer beaters, walk-offs like that since I've been in the league. I mean, there's been game winners, but there's always been some time left on the clock. So just to see that 0-0 and know that we finally won game one, it was a big win for us and a good way to start a series.
All right, last thing. You showed up in that Bobby Dalbac jersey. Tell me about your relationship. Like, you guys went to the same high school. What's that been like now, being in the same city, wearing his jersey, all that?
Yeah, I mean, that's my guy. He was a year underneath me at Legend, and I mean, we played on the same basketball team. I was on the summer baseball team with him, so I mean, we just go way back, and it's pretty cool. Two kids from a little town in Parker, Colorado, are with the Boston team. So I mean, it was good to see him, to get his jersey, and I'm always cheering for him.
Who's better at their alternate sport? Would he be a better basketball player, or were you the better baseball player?
Back then, he was a better basketball player than I was a baseball player. But I think I've gotten a little bit better in baseball. So, I don't know. I'll have to get in the batting cages or something.
What was your position back then?
I was outfield.
Yeah, because you got speed and like you're rangy in defense. I can see that.
But I didn't have any power. I was tiny, so I was really just a slap hitter. I mean, I said Juan Pierre was my favorite player, so that's who I tried to be like.
Oh, well, I mean, now you've got those NBA muscles, so
Yeah.
all right. Well,
Yeah, I've gotten a little bigger, so maybe a little bit more power. We'll see.
we'll see if the Celtics can get you some batting cages here at the Auerbach Center. Derrick, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, good stuff there from Derrick White. Thought it was super cool that he's getting the experience his first time in the TD Garden, and the place has been absolutely electric. All right, we're going to be back after every game in this series, so I need everybody to go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk podcast.